This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by the two best promoters in the world, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. Bit of out-of-the-box question to start with, so not including the guys on this card, but if you could sign one British guy from each other's stable, who would it be and why?
Tyson Fury.
Okay, let's remove the big stars.
All right. Who do I like? I like a couple of their guys who are probably not broken through completely yet. I mean, Mark Chamberlain's doing well. I like Sam Noakes. I think he's an exciting young fighter. I actually met Dennis McCann for the first time in Liverpool. He's quite an amusing character. Nice geezer. Some good fighters. Pierce O'Leary, Henry Turner. You know, good young fighters coming through. So, yeah.
I thought you'd have said Moses Alma.
But yeah, Moses. No, I rate Moses. Yeah, go on then, Moses.
Heavyweight as well. Frank?
God, that's a tough one, that is. Who do I don't know. I thought he'd done well on Saturday, didn't he? Your man?
Catterall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to be with us.
Yeah.
And I like Jack. He'd be certainly up there. Got some cracking fighters there, same as us.
I would have guessed maybe Dalton Smith. He's doing really well with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good fighter. Yeah. But I've got a soft spot for Jack. And he done well. He did do well on Saturday. He done well in that fight. A bit closer than I thought, but he won the fight.
Just speaking about that, what about Bob's outburst? Incredible.
At the end of the day, I mean, and it is. I think it's good for boxing, really, because it doesn't matter whether he was right, he made a plonker of himself, whatever. Everyone's talking about it. I didn't even know he was in the ring. I was doing an interview and he just went, "Give me that," and I turned around, I went, I just gave it to him. The next thing, they're still doing the interview, and he's over the other side of the ring with the mic. So, good. Everywhere that went viral. He don't care, does he? I mean,
you're not going to be doing that at 92, are you?
What, snatching the mic? Who knows what I'll be doing? Please God, I'm alive when I'm 92. Look, Bob's very passionate. I mean, you think in the course of what, a month he'd been to
Saudi, Japan, Australia,
Leeds.
When he told me he was coming to Leeds as well.
But better be, which is, I mean,
quite incredible.
He's amazing what he does. It's amazing.
Right, let's run through the cards. So, all this talk about the spar that Filip Hrgović and Daniel Dubois had years ago. Just want to get your perspective and what you heard about that spar.
Mine is irrelevant, really. I mean, a long time ago. Both fighters have changed a lot since. You know, the reality is actually Daniel has fought at the higher level more consistently, right? He boxed Jarrell Miller, he boxed Joe Joyce, he boxed Alexander Usyk, and really Philip's only real fight as of date is Zhilei Zhang, which was a close fight. You know, he had his personal problems going into that fight. So I really like Filip Hrgović in this fight, but he's going to have to show all the things that people have been saying about him for years in the ring. So it's no gimme by any means. And Daniel's confidence right now must be the highest it's ever been, having come through the Jarrell Miller fight. So I like our guy by stoppage actually, but it's a real heavyweight fight.
Do you know what happened in that spar, Frank?
Well, he had one spar. They sparred about 4 or 5 times. I spoke after we did that round table thing. I spoke to Martin Bowers, who at the time was training him, and he said that. He said they had a few spars. He said they were very, very competitive spars. And he was obviously a younger guy at the time. What's he now? He's 25, 26 now, and what's Philip, 30, 31?
Yeah, still a baby.
So, you know, so he was much older. But having said that, they're different people now. They're totally different fighters. And Daniel's just got to do what he done in his last fight. He's got to go out there. We know he can. He's got a great jab. I know he can box. He's got good footwork. He's got fast hands. Great finisher. He's just got to control his heart and his mind, and if he does that, I think he'll stop him.
Talking about that round table on TNT, that moment from Daniel Dubois, quite incredible.
Yeah. I actually think Daniel's hilarious. Like, I know that over the years, and because we would have done the same thing, Frank would be saying to Daniel, "Come on, you got, you know, at these presses, you got," and like you saw the exchange with Jarrell Miller, right? It's quite amusing, wasn't it? And I'm your daddy and all this kind of stuff. And then that was just wild at the head-to-head. He just come out of it. But good for him. Also, don't forget, he's 25, 26. He's only just maturing as a man, or probably not even yet. So he's probably starting to think to himself, no, I'm not going to, and Hrgović will pipe up. I think we'll get a little bit of action at this presser. to be honest with you.
You can see there's going to be some mental games from Hrgovic. He's going to try and get that edge over him, and he's got it in his head that he's a quitter. That's being basic. That's what he thinks, and he'll be trying to basically try and get in his head and tell him that you're in for a hard night. I'm going to be relentless and I'm going to break your heart. That's what he's got in his head, Hrgovic, to do, and I think he's going to come unstuck. He has matured. He is. He never used to say anything. I mean, for me, as a promoter, I used to say he does all his talking in the ring. I want him to say something, but that's what you do. But now he is coming out of his shell, and I thought that was hilarious at the at that round table. I never ever expected that, and I thought it was. I mean, we all just had jaws just dropped. It was comical. But look, at the end of the day, they can talk till the cows come home. Actions speak louder than words, and once that bell goes, he's got to get down in that ring. He's got to be the governor. He's got to be the boss, and he's got to take that fight to him. And he's got to let his shots go, and he's got to hurt Hrgovic. He's got to let Hrgovic know from round one to if it does go 12 rounds, he's in a high tempo, fast, meaningful, hurtful fight.
Talking about Needle, it seems like Hamza and Amos picking up some pace. I saw the face-off between them two. A bit strange, to be fair, but that's Amo Williams for you. He said. You made some comments once about Hamza when you asked quite a while back, and you said you didn't really know him. I think that's when you guys were going back and forth, etc. He said he's going to beat your guy, come up to your ringside, shake your hand and say, "You won't forget me now."
Yeah, I rate Hamza. I do. I think he's a very nice man as well. He's never really, the victories on his record, the standout wins. One is Bradley Skeet, a little bit of controversy in that fight, and Bradley was towards the back end of his career. Good win though. And the other one was Liam Williams, which, again, he did it very well, but I still stand by Liam Williams is done in the sport. Amo's already beaten a couple of good guys. Steve Rolls convincingly. Even his last opponent, I think, was 12-13-0, decent fighter. But the reality is, no one really knows if these two are going to go on and win world middleweight titles.
Even the loser could in this fight.
Yeah, of course. And you shouldn't be afraid of losing. We see it too much in our sport where it's like, I'm not going to take this fight. What if I lose? You lose on this platform in a great fight, you'll be back.
He had a good win in Poland. That was an excellent win against a good fighter. He was with K2. They thought he was going to be their next big star. He'd done a job on him. And his last fight out, the same thing. He's a devastating puncher. He's got a very good jab. And he's got so much confidence. And I've never seen a boxer prepare so well as he does. He really does prepare. Ricky's done a great job of him. He's got a good team around him. And I would have made him captain of our team if I didn't believe in him. And I do believe in him. And I think he's got a tough fight, but I think it's a fight that he's more than capable of winning.
Just away from this, I know you and your family actually knew Anthony Joshua quite well, and you haven't spoken to him for years. He was at the Fury Usyk fight, and you had a conversation with him, I believe. How did it go?
Yeah, good. And he's on the same flight coming back. Yeah, we weren't sitting next to each other, but we talked a couple of talked about the fight. Yeah, it was good. I mean, it's look. Do you know what? We're in a situation now where everybody's talking, which is great because we're making things happen between us. This is the best thing that's happened. Where we are now, it's the best thing that's happened. And AJ. Well, we at one stage generally thought we were going to sign him. That's the truth.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
We might not be in now.
That's things that happen for a reason. They happen for a reason.
Lastly, some articles have come out about Tyson Fury from Simon Jordan, Oliver Holt as well, quite critical. I'll get your opinion as well on it, Eddie. But first to you, Frank, as his promoter, thoughts on it?
Well, when I went on the programme, all I went on the programme for was to say that Tyson has been in these bad places. He had said some things that were, maybe some people obviously wouldn't like, and there's some things got misconstrued. But there is a reason. He's been diagnosed as bipolar. And if anybody takes the trouble to go on the NHS website and look what happens with bipolar, one amongst the many things that happen people who got bipolar is that they will say something that may be out of order, may upset someone, because that's what happens. There's no filter. And when he was in, and that diagnosis come off the fact that he was that much away from committing suicide, the boozing, the blowing up in weight, was he 11 stone overweight, all those things. And that it weren't about the result of the fight. The fight, we all see it in different ways. I thought it was a close fight, and I thought he just got it, but no complaints. Other people see it the other way. People I respect, a lot of American journalists gave it a draw and so forth. But the result you can't change. It is what it is. But Tyson, then to be said that the first bit of adversity he has in his life, that he's got to now take the rematch, otherwise he won't be considered to be basically a good, not a good fighter if he don't face up to that adversity. He's come through all that mental problems. He's he went to Germany and beat Klitschko in front of his adopted country at the time's crowds. He got off the floor, having taken a fight where he was a big underdog, lost a lot of weight against the hardest punching heavyweight out there. That last round, how he got off that floor, because I thought it was all over and everybody in the hall did, I don't know. The third fight he had with Wilder, on the floor twice, gritted his teeth, got up, and then the fight you've just watched a couple of weeks ago, which was an absolute classic of a fight between two great gladiators. What has he got to prove, that he's not a fighter? He shouldn't be. I mean, it's just ridiculous to even say that. I just found that, just a stupid comment to make, and I just don't get it. And at the end of the day, Tyson doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He's been a great fighter. A lot of people now, there were a few journalists, feature writers who were waiting to stick the knife into him, because that's how it is. That's the world we live in. I get that and understand that. But don't take away his credentials as being a great fighter. He's been the best heavyweight of his generation up until Saturday night, the 18th of May, when, according to the result, the other man got the result, Usyk got the result. And everybody now correctly is saying Usyk is the best heavyweight of his generation, because I said whoever wins that fight is the best of his generation. But it was that close. It was a split decision. So what, Tyson now's a crap fighter? Stupid remarks. Absolutely stupid.
Eddie, just give your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, we had it with AJ when he lost to Ruiz. He really changed the face of British boxing. Beating Klitschko, great fight with Dillian Whyte, unifying against Parker, all of this. And then gets beat by Ruiz, and it's like, well, he's actually overrated. AJ was never actually that good anyway. And it actually stops fighters from wanting to take a risk because of the criticism you get when you get beat. I mean, I'm a little bit more biased now because I get on very well with Spencer. I like Tyson Fury. I spent a little bit of time around him. I just think, right, why don't we just go, wow, what a fighter. That was one of our, that was a Brit in one of the great fights of our generation. And by the way, love him or hate him, the balls that he showed in the 9th round was quite unbelievable to stay on his feet. And he come out in the 10th round, recovered, and gave us a brilliant fight and lost a narrow decision.
And won the 12th.
So, I don't know. It's a bit of a sad world we live in, where people just, I said the other day in an interview, ha-ha merchants, I call it. Ha-ha,
Simon Jordan.
Yeah, well, I wasn't necessarily referring to him, but I think Simon Jordan was delighted that Tyson Fury lost. And I don't think that's great for your karma, I've found over the years. I think you're better off, just going, good luck to him. And if he wins, yeah, good luck. And if he loses, well, fair play. But
I don't have a problem if somebody's doesn't like someone. That's life. You can't like everybody, and you get me. What my problem is when you question somebody who gets in that ring and does what they've done in that ring, like Eddie said, the 9th round, like the other fights I mentioned, when they show that and win fights, because that fight's the first fight he lost, and win fight, and then you're questioning his credentials. Muhammad Ali, he got beat by Leon Spinks, who had 8 fights. He had 5 defeats in his career, incredible wars that he was in. A truly great fighter, and said some bad things on the way up. Some bad things, racist things and whatever. But he became a man of the people. As he matured and got older, he became probably the most loved sportsman of the 20th century. There's no doubt about it, all the things he stood for. And for a youngster, though I was at the time, he was a hero. You look at Lennox Lewis, another great British gladiator, world champion, brilliant world champion. But he lost 2 fights against McCall and against Ruckman. He reversed them in time. He had 2 fights epic fights against another gladiator in Evander Holyfield, where there was a fag paper in between that decision who won those fights. But he's a great fighter. And so just say Tyson, so you just got, like he's had a shellacking or something. He had a tough 9th round, no doubt about that. But you're talking like he lost every round. That was a split decision. That was a close fight. Even if Usyk won it by 1 or 2 rounds or vice versa, it was a great fight. And do you know what? Great fights can only be made by 2 great fighters. Not one fighter. It takes 2 to make it. And to denigrate him, and other journalists, I see another feature writer saying you couldn't even consider him being a great fighter. I mean, what planet are they on, these people? They don't know shit about boxing.
Frank and Eddie, thank you very much for your time. All the best for fight week.